Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about new UberEats updates. So Uber actually have dropped a lot of different updates, and most of them didn't really have that much effect on us. They were mostly aesthetic for the most part, like changing the icons and the colors of busy areas, the navigation icon going from blue to black, and just the overall aesthetics looking a little bit sharper than it was before. But some changes were made that were good on one side and bad for the other, and some options were just taken away in general. So with that said, I want to go over the changes that were made within the Uber app for Uber Eats drivers, things that they added, things they took away, my opinions and what other people are saying about it, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain, is never intended to be legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult with qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. I also want to be clear that some of the things I am going to be talking about in this video are very market dependent, and what applies to me and my market may not apply to you. So with that said, let's get started. The new confirm pickup screen. So in the past, in order to mark that you received an order and have picked it up, it was all done with a single swipe of the start delivery thing at the bottom of the screen. This would not only inform your customer and Uber that you have their order, but also that the order is on the way. However, there were a couple of hiccups about that. For one, restaurants have been attempting to manipulate drivers in confirming the order before leaving the restaurant. And this was a huge problem for a while because restaurants were basically violating the contract between them and Uber, as well as forcing us, the driver, to break our contract with Uber and put our accounts at risk because we accepted an order and received an order before we actually received an order. Like, what kind of backwards logic is that? But Joe, this is supposed to protect them because this allows them to protect themselves from thieving drivers who steal food. True, and I do agree with that concept that they do need to protect themselves. But is that really all this is about? Because whenever they hand me the food and ask me to do that, I offered them the literal option to swipe it themselves. Because if they're that concerned about my actions, what better security and certainty of me confirming the order do they have rather than me handing it to them and say, here, swipe it, I have the order, so why don't you confirm it for me? There is no greater security for that. Some do it no problem. Those people were legitimately concerned about the theft, and they were more than willing to just go bloop, and that's it. Now, some say, no, you do it. I'm not doing your job for you. That proved, based on their actions, that they were not concerned about the security of the order actually being marked as picked up in the app. They didn't care about them at all. It was about controlling drivers and treating drivers as if they're their employees, rather us being independent contractors in business for ourselves. And I'm not being treated that way. I just refuse to work with people like that. I make a very big point about that. But now they updated their pickup screen. So now the steps between confirming that you received an order and beginning the delivery process are two different steps. In my opinion, this is pretty cool and pretty smart because now you can mark the order as confirmed without putting your account at risk. And Grubhub has this too, where there is a got the order button and then there's a leaving button, which I think all apps should just have that. There should be a distinct difference between pick up the order and leave, because you don't know what their parking situation had to be. What if their place was so busy that you had to park in the back of the lot and then walk around? Or there was no real parking in the front, so they had to go in the back and now they gotta walk all the way around the building. You don't know what they have to do. The new drop-off screen. So just like how you could confirm the pickup, you could confirm the drop-off as well. They didn't really do a great job with this, in my opinion. Now there's just two steps to say confirm that you gave it to them and confirm that you dropped it off. Grubhub has the same thing. Orders that say leave at the door, you take a photo, you leave the note saying where it is and confirm the delivery there. But it's not like you go back to the first screen. They just end the delivery like that, which is a little confusing in my opinion. It just seems like it's adding steps for the sake of adding steps, you know? And the PIN number, again, nothing actually changes. You type type in the PIN, and then it ends the delivery on you. Again, that's not really a big deal, but why make it look like you're adding steps for the sake of adding steps? What's going on? No more rating restaurants and customers. Yep, that's right. We no longer have the ability to hold the people who treat us like garbage accountable on the platform itself without having to contact support. So if you want to thumbs down a restaurant for blatantly ignoring gig workers and their unprofessional behavior, nope. Want to thumbs down somebody for having an unreasonable wait time in a restaurant and decide to put your order on last even though it was there before everybody else walked in? Too bad. Now, I agree that there are just some things you should not have to be rated on as far as that thumbs up, thumbs down system. Like, no parking is not in the control of the restaurant. No social distancing. It's a little late for that. Business note unclear. I don't think half of us read them anyway, to be honest. And saying other without a chance to explain what other is, like, what are you trying to do, fam? But now, as far as this platform is concerned, we're the only ones getting rated for things? That makes no sense. Now, again, what's the difference between DoorDash doing that and Uber doing that? At least Uber feigns the idea that they gave a crap about how merchants and customers treat their drivers. Now they're just blatantly like, nope, we don't care. If you don't like it, get off the platform. Like, tell us we're the fall guys without telling us we're the fall guys. Now, before I get in too deep about what this really means for drivers, let's see what other people are saying about it, because Reddit always has a lot to say. I noticed today when I had waited nearly 15 minutes, I thought maybe after I hit confirm pickup, the option might appear, but that was not the case. That would have been smart. Like, after you say confirm pickup, it drops down with a thumbs up, thumbs down. That would make sense to me. That's not what happened at all. It never did anything anyways. Restaurants are Uber's source of income. They are not going to cut one of them because you gave them a thumbs down. It just made us feel like we had some power, LMFAO. Yeah, that's not really the way to get them to change how they operate. That's just gonna get them generally upset, but they're not gonna really change how they operate. At least most of them won't. That was never a factor. The idea was the restaurant would see the feedback. I've managed a restaurant before, and being aware of feedback is important. You can't always do anything about it, but it is necessary to be aware of what people have complaints about. I mean, that's pretty true too, but for the things that they were stating about what we were actually having the ability to rate them on, unprofessional behavior on who? It wasn't specific enough. There was no comment section for us. Like, I understand the purpose of having feedback, but this is a level of feedback that we weren't given the opportunity to really go deep into what the actual issue was. Not to mention the amount of restaurants that actually did the opposite, like they had a discrimination towards gig workers. Like, the amount of times I have heard restaurants say we put gig workers' orders last is astounding to me. And it amazes me that some of these people are still in business. They never saw the feedback ever. It's just to appease drivers. It was a fake function. I'm so glad they're getting away with it. I'm sure by the way he's framing it, it's actually more like they're getting rid of the function because it didn't do anything. Some people had a theory about it actually boosting them up in the algorithm, but I guess they're done with that too. If that's how it was, then I wish they had gone the other direction. We drivers should not be the only ones subject to ratings and criticism. Yeah, that's one thing I will say. I think restaurants should be held more accountable for their thing. What does this really mean for drivers? What are the actual issues that pop up because of this? Well, Uber is displaying clearly through their actions that they care much more about their merchants than they do their drivers. Yes, they're a literal source of income for them, but that doesn't give them the right to treat us like garbage. But then again, it's not like we're not treated like garbage anyway, right? They are willing to remove the accountability aspect of the merchants that led them to actually change how they operate, reporting them to Uber on how they are violating the contract and rate them for unprofessional behavior. That's no longer a thing. They certainly fixed an aspect that could normally lead to our deactivation by confirming that we received orders before we received orders and forcing us to to receive account notices, but they did it in a way that cost us an important tool to hold these failure businesses accountable on the platform. It doesn't make us powerless though. We do have options, so let's talk about what some of those options are. First of all, we have Para, which I'm not a fan of promoting, but it'd be irresponsible to not talk about them. With their app, they have the unique opportunity to flag the restaurants and customers you interact with both as red and green flags. Tip baiting, bottom feeder, flagged. A restaurant that treats you like crap, flagged. Problems with the wait time, flagged. Micromanaging customer, flagged. That is an option. It goes against TOS, but it is an option out there. Second is review websites like Yelp, TripAdvisor, Google. If they want to treat us like crap on the platform, let's see what happens when you take it off platform. Now it's not just about you being an Uber Eats driver, a Doordash driver, Grubhub driver. It's about you actually treating somebody who received their service like garbage. I've had restaurants around here totally changed their tune with me after I made a Yelp review about them. Some actually tried to lie to cover up my review because of their piss poor integrity and character. That didn't work. Then they changed their tune. Isn't that being a Karen? I don't want to be a Karen. First of all, standing up for yourself and not wanting to be blatantly disrespected is not being a Karen. And honestly, I cannot tell you how annoyed I am about the concept of being a Karen is being weaponized in such a way to justify poor behavior in the workplace. How is the concept of professionalism a justifiable reason to act in such a way that doesn't even fulfill the minimum expectations of your job? You know, it's professional doing your job, earning your paycheck, fulfilling the minimum obligations of your employment. You know why I like quiet quitters to a certain degree? Because quiet quitters have to know what the bare minimum is to not risk getting fired. Because if they do get fired wrongfully, they can sue them and that will actually make them more money. But they have to know what the bare minimum is to do it, and they do it. These people aren't even doing that. However, I do have a few personal rules when I write a review like this. First of all, I never talk about food unless I've had some of their food in the past. So if you've never had the food, you make the point to say no food is worth blah blah blah. And if you did have the food and you liked it, the food was good, but it wasn't worth blah blah blah. Second, name drop the person that wronged you, not the whole staff. As gig workers, we already have the issue of people putting us all in the same bucket when one driver acts inappropriately. It's not fair that we get put in that same bucket, so don't treat them that way. If you don't know their name, refer to the physical features that distinguish them from other people. Blonde is fine if they were the only blonde, but a young lady with blonde hair, freckles, and an attitude problem, that is much more specific. Third, let's talk about ambiance for a second. Ambiance should only be mentioned in a negative way if it actually bothered you. It's one thing to say that people were disrespectful, but the ambiance is part of what makes a restaurant worth going to, which means it isn't really going to steer people away from ordering it on Doordash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub anyway. But what if the place was actually kind of gross? I've been to a place where I have literally been skeeved out just by walking in. There's this one restaurant I picked up for. It was a pay-to-park place, but I just decided I was going to run in, run out. It looked good on the outside, looked clean on the outside, but you walked in and it was like a health code violation palooza. Everything was sticky, from the floors to the counters, everything. The air gave this overall gross feeling. The kitchen window had this little sign right by it, and behind that sign was a cockroach. Gross. Not to mention, the people there gave me just the overall attitude of just being a snooty general presence to be in. Definitely on my no-go list, definitely wrote a review, and that's a never go back under any circumstances, man. But let's say it is a good place. Let's say it's a really nice restaurant. Oh, that is so much worse for them. Really nice restaurants have to provide a really good experience, otherwise people won't go to them. Sure, all restaurants should be nice to the people that go there in order to provide a good experience, but really nice places have to have great service in order to justify their prices and profit margins. And if they curated the ambiance to that aspect, they better treat you right, otherwise you're on Yelp, man. So if it's a really nice place, I would give them the same treatment as the food. The food was great and the ambiance was nice, but the service really threw off the vibe and definitely definitely made it not worth it. And finally, if you receive a good order from them after leaving that review, see if they change their tune. Give them a second chance. If they're going to change their ways, they're gonna do it right away. But sometimes they'll double, triple, and quadruple down. Umberto's over by here did that to me. Benihana does that. But if they do treat you like garbage immediately after, they're on your no-go list. Don't even bother with them again. Third is a bit more on the entrepreneurial side of things. If you're looking for an exit strategy, considering making reviews on a website or even on your own YouTube or TikTok. This way, if you get treated poorly by some of these people, you can actually get paid for the ad revenue that type of content produces. But I will say you should be fair too. You gotta produce content that's actually positive for people as well, just so you're not just some angry guy on the internet. But this isn't just me saying an idea for the sake of saying an idea. People have built their career on this concept. Angie's List, Keith Lee, Jordan the Stallion of the Fast Food Secrets Club. There are TikTokers that literally review little places in Florida that most people don't know about, and they actually talk about that stuff. Not to mention, doing this can allow you to network and potentially create something passive for yourself, which is really cool. People are looking for authentic content that isn't just a paid advertisement to help them find good quality gems and places to eat, rather than what you see just on a screen on Doordash, UberEats, and Grubhub. Heck, some people are so concerned about ghost kitchens, they look up the restaurant on Google to make sure the address is a legitimate restaurant it's worth going to. Also, if you have a level of influence on what restaurants should be ordered from and when, you can deliver for that restaurant more because they are definitely getting more orders. Just a thought, but it's one that should be considered. Finally, you just gotta be more strict with your no-go list. If this app, and really all of these gig apps, have shown us anything, is that they don't really care about us. We're expendable to them. So if they don't help you fight some of these disrespectful people and they make us the fall guys and girls on that subject, make sure you don't work with people that treat you badly. Sometimes the only way to win is not to play. Did I miss anything? Is there another perspective or aspect or even another solution that I have yet to cover in this video on these updates? Let me know in the comments. Let's make sure that everybody has all of the tools and resources they possibly need to better complete orders and to better make money in the most effective possible way, in the safest possible way for them as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.